Welcome to our 5 on 5, joined today by Ashland photographer Christopher Briscoe. Good to see you, sir. How are you?
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So we're talking about this book, The Road Between Us, a trip you and your son took, Route 66, from Santa Monica. How far did you go?
2,700 miles all the way to Chicago.
All the way to Chicago. Pretty fantastic father-son trip. How'd this whole thing come about?
I realized early on when I had my son that the clock was ticking, and when he asked me to go, I needed to go before it was too late.
And your son's in his mid-20s now.
He's 25, absolutely.
Okay, and you guys did this a couple years ago?
A couple years, yep.
Okay, and you're a photographer, so you have a beautiful eye and beautiful photos. You guys both love getting on the bike. You've gone cross country before. Yeah,
I've been across country a few times, and Quincy rode his bicycle a few years ago from Alaska to Tijuana. So he's been across too, and so when he asked me to go, I told him, I said, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I can't do this, but then I realized I've got to do this before it's too late.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. So why 66?
Well, the historic value, it's been changing so much, but even when the interstate went in just a few miles from Route 66, little towns changed within a couple weeks. One woman told me in a little town, she said, you know, Chris, when the hardware store moves and the bank moves, you know your town is, its life is shortened.
Yeah, I would say so. They would know far better than us. But how about the film? You did this. You
Yes.
know, you took all the amazing photos. I imagine you take everywhere. But how did this come into a film?
Well, a producer who I didn't know, Kathy Roselli in Ashland, came up to me in a coffee shop and said, you know, I read about your story and it would be a great short film. So then she teamed up with Joanne Feinberg, who is an amazing editor, and they put together this film and interviewed Quincy and me and did a lot of extra footage. And this thing has been touring all over the United States. It showed at the Ashland Film Festival and then up in Portland. And a few weeks ago it was in Australia and then recently Dubai.
Wow.
So it's made the rounds.
That's pretty spectacular.
Well, it's great to have that moment in my history with my son preserved.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Much more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Christopher Briscoe, Ashland photographer. We're talking about The Road Between Us, the book you did with your son. It's beautiful photos of your father-son trip on Route 66, also made into a film. Very exciting. So tell me about some of the people you met along the way. I imagine you guys met a lot of people.
Well, you know, one of the greatest parts about bicycling across America are the people and the characters you meet. And we would be invited home to, you know, all kinds of people invite us home. But Archie West is probably one of my favorite, and he's an 86-year-old cowboy out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. He's repairing his fence. This guy looks like out of a movie, you know, the long, you know, mustache and the boots and his gloves, and he's repairing a fence. And we pulled over and made friends with Archie. And I go see him every year now. He has me into his old place for chili, that his ranch that his dad homesteaded in the 20s.
Wow.
In the history, the first-hand historical stories that we heard from Archie were something that we could never learn in any college class, that's for sure.
That's pretty awesome. Okay, and what about the experience for you to do this with your son? You said Quincy asked you to do it with him.
Yes.
You'd ridden cross country before, and Quincy had gone from Alaska to Tijuana, I think you said. You know, what was that like as far as your relationship?
Well, as far as I was concerned, I didn't care if we ever got to Chicago. I knew that one day this story was going to be told by him to his kids, and his kids would tell it to their kids. And I just wanted to be a part of that, and also to celebrate in the form of a book and now film this wonderful relationship that I have with my son Quincy.
It's beautiful, beautiful photos as this is what you do. So Quincy, we haven't talked about this. Quincy, is he a captain? What's the best way for me to describe him?
He's a yacht captain.
Thank you.
He does charters. He's based in Santa Barbara, but right now he's in the British Virgin Islands doing charters.
Not bad.
Other times he's in Croatia or Maui, so he has a wonderful job.
Yeah, he's got a pretty cool job, and so you guys are planning your next trip with that in mind, I guess.
Absolutely. This book is called The Road Between Us. The next book and film is going to be called The Wind Between Us. We just got a 32-foot sailboat and a slip in Santa Barbara, and June 1st we are sailing to Hawaii, just the two of us.
Beautiful. And when can we expect you back in here for the 5 on 5 with that book and film?
Well,
Is that 2020?
there you go. There you go. I will be back. I will be back.
December 2020. Let's
go.
make that a thing. We'll get it on our calendar. Where can people find your book or your film?
Well, The Road Between Us is on Amazon.com, or they can go to my website, chrisbriscoe.com, and if they buy it from my website or email me at chrisbriscoe.com, I'm going to send them a link to the film, and they can watch it for free.
Right there at home.
How's
right after
that?
they watch this clip.
There you
okay,
go.
and so just so people understand, the clips that we've been using throughout this interview are from the film. Beautiful
Yes.
photos, as they all now know. Good to see you, man. Thanks
Great
very
to
much.
see you. Thanks for having me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.